My name is Jake Miller. I'm 24, a regular guy with a corporate job that pays the bills and a beat-up Honda Civic that's been rattling since I was 18. I've always been the responsible one, the guy who gets stuff done while everyone else coasts. Growing up in a suburban California house with my parents, Tom and Linda, and my younger brother Tristan, I learned early that fairness wasn't part of the deal. Tristan's 21 now, the golden child who could do no wrong, while I've been the scapegoat since I can remember. I graduated college with honors, worked 2 jobs to make it happen, and what did I get? A $50 Applebee's gift card and a good job text. Tristan barely scraped by with a 2.4 GPA after 6 years of partying, and my parents bought him a $60,000 Tesla Model 3 Performance. Life's funny like that. But let me start with the night everything went to hell. The night I walked into the garage and saw my old high school baseball bat lying next to Tristan's smashed up Tesla, my family glaring at me like I'd just committed murder. It was a Saturday morning, and I'd been jolted awake by this god-awful banging, like someone was taking a sledgehammer to a trash can. I stumbled out of bed, head foggy, and peeked out my window overlooking the driveway. Nothing. The noise stopped, so I figured it was just the garbage truck and crashed back into sleep. An hour later, all hell broke loose. Shouts erupted from the garage, and I threw on sweatpants, my heart thudding as I raced downstairs. There was Tristan, his face red with fury, my parents behind him all staring at the Tesla, or what was left of it. The windshield was shattered, every window smashed, the hood dented like it had been hit by a meteor. One headlight was gone, the side mirrors dangling by wires. It was a $60,000 wreck, and my dad was holding my bat, the one I hadn't touched in years. "You did this," Tristan yelled, his voice cracking with rage, his bruise from last week's crash glowing yellow-purple on his forehead. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was so absurd I couldn't process it. "I was asleep all night," I said, my stomach twisting as I realized what was happening. Dad stepped forward, his voice doing that fake calm thing he uses when he's about to explode. "Then why was this in the bushes?" He held up the bat, his eyes boring into me. Mom cut in. "Don't lie, Jake. We heard you leave your room at 2 a.m. My mind raced. They were framing me. I could feel the heat rising in my chest, a mix of disbelief and betrayal. "I didn't touch the damn car," I said, my voice steady despite the chaos in my head. Dad smirked. "We've already called insurance. They're sending someone Monday. Told them you vandalized it out of jealousy." That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about the car. This was revenge for me refusing to pay $14,500 to fix Tristan's drunk driving mess a week ago. They'd gone full criminal, and I was the fall guy. Let me back up because you need the whole picture to understand how insane this got. It started a month ago, on a Saturday morning I'll never forget. I was sipping cold coffee in my room, still the same cramped space I'd had since I was 12, with faded baseball posters and a twin bed, when I heard Mom squealing outside. I looked out the window and saw Dad handing Tristan a small box. Inside were the keys to a gleaming white Tesla parked across the street. Tristan whooped and danced like he'd won the lottery, Mom snapping 100 photos for Facebook, captioning it, "Proud of our grad." Dad glanced at me, caught my deadpan stare, and said, "Don't be jealous, Jake. He deserves this after working so hard." I nearly choked. Hard work? Tristan had spent 6 years at college perfecting beer pong, failing half his classes, while I'd graduated in 4 with honors, juggling a full course load and a part-time gig. My reward? That Applebee's card and a keep paying rent reminder. I muttered under my breath, "Yeah, real fair," and went back to my coffee, the bitterness matching my mood. Tristan changed overnight. The Tesla became his whole personality. He'd post Instagram stories from the dashboard, rev the electric motor in our driveway at 2 a.m., waking up the whole damn neighborhood. I'd lie awake, jaw clenched, listening to that whining hum, knowing he was out there being an idiot. He drove like he was in a movie, speeding through residential streets, doing donuts in parking lots, filming TikTok videos pretending to sleep while the car was on autopilot. I warned him once, my voice tight with frustration. "You're gonna kill someone, Tristan." He smirked, his eyes glassy from whatever he'd been drinking. "Chill, bro. It's got autopilot." I saw him drive drunk more times than I could count, and every time I offered to drive him home or call an Uber, he'd laugh it off. "It drives itself, Jake. Relax." Then there was Cassie, his ex-girlfriend. She's 20, works at the Rusty Nail Bar downtown, and dumped Tristan a month after he got the Tesla because, in her words, he turned into a total asshole. She texted me one night, her message popping up while I was playing Xbox. Jake, he's driving smashed every night. You gotta stop him. I felt a knot in my gut reading that. Cassie's tough, with dyed pink hair and a no-nonsense vibe, but she sounded worried. I texted back, I've tried. He won't listen. She replied, figures. Be careful, okay? I didn't know then how right she'd be. The crash happened a week before the garage blowout. It was a Thursday night, and I was hunched over my laptop, working late on a report, when I heard Mom and Dad's bedroom door slam open at 3 a.m. Footsteps pounded down the hall, then Dad's car peeled out of the driveway. My heart sank. Something was wrong. I found Mom downstairs, her face pale, hands trembling. What happened? I asked, my voice sharp. She mumbled, Tristan had a little accident with the Tesla. Your dad's getting him. A little accident? That's family code for a disaster they're already covering up. I pressed her. What kind of accident? But she waved me off. Go back to bed, Jake. Next morning, the truth spilled out. Tristan had been at the Rusty Nail, pounding shots with his idiot friends. One of them, some loser named Brad, filmed him twirling the Tesla keys, slurring, Let's see what this baby can do. He took off, 4 of them crammed in the car, all wasted. On Oakwood Drive, he took a corner too fast, lost control, jumped the curb, and plowed into a massive oak tree owned by Henry Dawson, this grizzled ex-Marine who lives 2 houses down. The Tesla's front end crumpled like tinfoil. Airbags popped, windshield cracked. Tristan stumbled out with a gash on his forehead and a bruised ego, but alive. Dad got there before the cops, somehow convincing Henry not to call 911. I overheard Mom whispering to her sister on the phone later. Tom handled it. Wrote a check, I think. I stood there, fists clenched, thinking, they're bailing him out again. The Tesla got towed to our garage, a mangled monument to Tristan's stupidity. I saw it the next day. Hood folded like an accordion, powder from the airbags dusting the seats, one wheel bent at a sick angle. It was a $60,000 paperweight now, and Tristan? He acted like it was no big deal, slumping around the house in his sweats, whining about losing his whip. I cornered him once, my voice low and furious. You could have died, you know that? Or killed someone. He shrugged. Tree came out of nowhere, bro, and limped off, leaving me steaming. I stood there, staring at the wreck through the garage window, my fists clenched so tight my knuckles ached. How could he be so cavalier? I'd spent my whole life cleaning up messes, mine, theirs, anyone's. But this? This was a disaster even I couldn't fix. That afternoon, I got a text from Cassie. Meet me at Rusty Nail tonight. Got something you need to see. My stomach flipped. Cassie didn't mess around. She'd been Tristan's reality check before he ditched her for his Tesla obsession. I threw on a jacket, my mind buzzing with questions, and drove downtown. The Rusty Nail was a dive bar, all dim lights and sticky floors, the kind of place Tristan and his crew treated like a second home. Cassie was behind the bar, pouring a beer, her pink hair glowing under the neon sign. She nodded me over, her face tight with worry. Look at this, she said, sliding her phone across the counter. It was a video, time-stamped the night of the crash. Tristan, wasted, twirling his keys, grinning at Brad, his loudmouth buddy with a man bun, who was filming. Let's race, bro, Tristan slurred, stumbling toward the Tesla. Brad laughed. Bet you can't hit 100 on Oakwood. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just reckless driving, it was a dare, a game, and that tree was the finish line they never saw coming. He raced? I asked, my voice hoarse. Cassie nodded. Yeah, Brad egged him on. They peeled out of here like it was a drag strip. I tried to grab the keys, but he shoved me off. Her eyes darkened, and I felt a surge of anger, not just at Tristan, but at the whole mess. Why show me now? I said, handing the phone back. She leaned in, voice low. Because Brad's bragging about it. Says Tristan's gonna pin it on you if the cops dig deeper. Thought you should know. I swallowed hard, the bar's hum fading as her words sank in. Pin it on me? My own brother? I thanked her, my mind racing, and headed home, the weight of betrayal pressing on my chest. The next day I met Henry Dawson, the guy whose tree Tristan turned into firewood. He was outside watering his lawn, a burly ex-Marine with a buzz cut and a stare that could melt steel. I'd always liked Henry. He didn't take crap from anyone, and he'd waved off my apologies for Tristan's noise before. Hey, Jake, he called, shutting off the hose as I walked up. Sorry about your brother's stunt. Damn near took out my mailbox, too. I forced a smile. Yeah, he's got a talent for chaos. You okay with it all? Henry squinted, wiping his hands on his jeans. Your dad paid me $5,000 to keep quiet, but I've got a camera up there. He pointed to a small lens above his porch. Caught the whole thing. Him flying around that corner drunk as hell. Didn't give it to the cops yet. Figured I'd talk to you first. My heart skipped. Can I see it? I asked, hope flickering. He nodded. Come by tomorrow. I'll burn you a copy. That night, Tristan's crew showed up at our house. I heard the rumble of Brad's souped-up Mustang pulling into the driveway, followed by laughter and the clink of beer cans. I peeked out my window. Brad, Tristan, and 2 others, some guys I vaguely knew from his high school days, sprawled on the lawn like it was a tailgate. Tristan was holding court, his voice loud. Dad's got it handled, bro. Insurance'll pay once we say Jake flipped out. Brad chuckled. Dude, your brother's such a buzzkill. Perfect scapegoat. My pulse pounded in my ears. They were planning it right there, casual as a barbecue, and I was the punchline. I grabbed my phone, hit record, and cracked the window just enough to catch it. Tristan kept going. He's got savings, too. We'll bleed him dry. I stopped the recording, my hands shaking with rage, and sent it to Cassie with a text. They're setting me up. What do I do? Her reply came fast. Get out of there. Crash with me tonight. Bring the video. I didn't hesitate. I stuffed a change of clothes and my laptop into a backpack, my heart hammering as I slipped out the back door. The Mustang's engine revved. They were leaving, probably to hit another bar. I jogged to my Civic, the cool night air hitting my face, and drove to Cassie's place, a tiny apartment above the Rusty Nail. She let me in, her eyes wide when I played the recording. Jesus, Jake, she said, pacing. They're not just screwing you, they're banking on it. I slumped onto her couch, exhaustion and fury warring inside me. I've got Henry's footage tomorrow, I told her. Maybe that's my way out. She nodded. Use it. And don't go back till you've got a plan. Morning came too fast. I met Henry at his place, my nerves frayed. He handed me a USB drive, his voice gruff. Tristan's lucky he's not dead. Or in jail. Your folks should have let him face it. I took the drive, my throat tight. Thanks, Henry. I owe you. He waved it off. Just don't let him drag you down, kid. I watched the footage in my car. Tristan speeding down Oakwood at 2:47 a.m., the Tesla's lights flashing as it swerved, then the sickening crunch as it hit the tree. It was crystal clear, and it was damning. I gripped the wheel, a mix of relief and dread washing over me. This could bury him, but it'd bury my family, too. Back at Cassie's, I showed her the video. She whistled. That's game over for Tristan, but your parents'll fight dirty. She was right. I called Chris, my best friend since high school, a laid-back guy who'd always had my back. Dude, I need a favor, I said, my voice tight. Can I crash at your place? Things are imploding. He didn't blink. Yeah, man, come over. What's up? I gave him the short version. Tristan's crash, the setup, the footage. Bring it all, he said. We'll figure it out. I was about to leave Cassie's when Brad's Mustang screeched up outside the bar. My stomach dropped. I peeked through the blinds. Tristan climbed out, still limping, with Brad and another guy, a wiry dude with tattoos I didn't recognize. They were loud, drunk, and headed upstairs. Shit, Cassie hissed, grabbing a baseball bat from under her counter, ironic given my situation. They know you're here. A fist pounded on the door, Tristan yelling, Jake, I know you're in there, you rat. Open up. My heart raced, adrenaline spiking. Cassie whispered, Backstairs, go. I bolted for the exit, backpack slung over my shoulder, as the door shook under another hit. I heard Brad laugh. We'll get him, bro. I stumbled down the rickety steps, my breath ragged, and sprinted to my car. Tires squealed as I peeled out, Tristan's shouts fading behind me. At Chris's place, I collapsed on his couch, my chest heaving. He handed me a soda. Dude, you look like you ran from a horror movie. What happened? I told him about the ambush, playing the Oakwood footage and the lawn recording. His jaw dropped. They're psycho. You've got enough to nail them. I nodded. Yeah, but I need to play it smart. Insurance is coming tomorrow. Chris grinned. Stay here. We'll back you up. Sunday night, I barely slept, my mind replaying Tristan's voice, Brad's laugh, Mom's tears from the crash night. Every creak of the house jolted me awake, my heart racing as I pictured the Tesla's wreckage in the garage, a twisted trophy of Tristan's recklessness. I kept running through it all. Henry's footage of the crash, the audio of Tristan plotting to frame me, Cassie's warning about Brad. They were out there. scheming, and I was trapped here, waiting for the hammer to drop. By morning, my eyes burned, my head throbbed, and my hands shook as I downed my third coffee, the bitter taste matching the knot in my gut. Monday morning, Mac Delaney rolled up to our house, State Farm's investigator, a lean ex-cop in his 40s with gray eyes that missed nothing. He stepped out of his sedan, clipboard tucked under his arm, his khakis crisp despite the early hour. Dad met him at the door, all forced charm. "Good to see you. Let's clear this up." Then he turned to me, his voice clipped. "Go to work, Jake." I crossed my arms, leaning against the wall. "I'm staying." His jaw tightened, but Mac was already moving toward the garage, camera in hand, and Dad had to hustle after him. I followed, my pulse hammering as Mac circled the Tesla, snapping photos with sharp, deliberate clicks. He crouched by the front end, tracing the deep scars from Henry's tree, then stood to study the fresh dents, the shattered glass, the dangling mirrors. His brow furrowed, but he didn't speak, just kept shooting, his silence making my stomach twist tighter. Inside, he interviewed them first, Mom and Dad together on the couch, a rehearsed duo. I lingered in the kitchen, catching fragments through the open door. Mom's voice trembled. "It's just terrible, someone smashing his car like that." Dad nodded. "Jake's been upset, jealous about Tristan's success." I gripped the counter, my nails digging into the wood, fighting the urge to barge in and call them out. They went on for 30 minutes, then Tristan slouched in, playing the victim card hard. He rubbed his bruise, whining. "I don't get why he'd do this, man. I just want my whip back." I clenched my fists. He was milking it, and I couldn't tell if Mac was swallowing the act. After 15 minutes, Tristan shuffled out, tossing me a smirk that made my blood boil. Then Mac waved me in. I sat across from him at the kitchen table, his laptop open, papers stacked beside it. He fixed me with that steady gaze. "Where were you Friday night?" I took a slow breath, keeping my voice level despite the nerves buzzing under my skin. "Home, asleep. Worked till 6, ate a sandwich, played Xbox till 11, then bed. Didn't leave till I heard the noise Saturday morning." He typed, quick and precise. "Did you damage the car?" I leaned forward, my hands pressing the table. "No. It was wrecked last week. Tristan crashed it drunk into Henry Dawson's tree on Oakwood. They're framing me for this new stuff because I won't pay $14,500 to fix it." Mac's eyebrows flicked up, a spark of curiosity, but his face stayed stone. "Proof?" he asked, tapping his pen. I swallowed. Henry's USB and my phone audio were at Chris's. "Not with me," I said, "but I've got video of the crash and Tristan admitting he'd pin it on me. I can get it to you today." He nodded. "Do it. Anyone back you up?" My chest tightened. "My Xbox buddy's online till 11, pizza guy at 9:30. He scribbled, "I'll check. That's all for now." I stood, my legs unsteady, feeling Mom's glare burn into my back as I passed her. Mac left without a word, his sedan disappearing down the street, and the house detonated. Mom rushed me, tears streaming. "How could you say that to him? You're destroying Tristan." I snapped. "He destroyed himself, Mom. I'm not covering for him." Dad loomed over me, his voice a low growl. "Call him back, fix this, or you're out." Tristan sprawled on the couch, smirking. "You're toast, bro. Nobody's buying your sob story." I turned and bolted upstairs, my heart slamming against my ribs, locking my door against their shouts. I sank onto my bed, head in my hands, the air thick with tension. They weren't just angry, they were cornered, and that made them dangerous. Tuesday dragged like a bad dream. I was at work, staring at spreadsheets I couldn't focus on when Cassie texted. "Brad's at the nail, mouthing off. Says Tristan's got a plan B to shut you up. Be careful." My stomach lurched. Plan B? I texted Chris. "Need to grab my stuff from your place. They're up to something." He shot back. "Come after work. We'll deal." The day crawled, every noise making me jump, my mind racing with what shut you up could mean. At 5, I drove to Chris's, my Civic rattling over the streets, my eyes flicking to the mirrors for Brad's Mustang. Chris met me at the door, his usual grin gone. "You look wrecked, man. What's up?" I slumped on his couch. "Cassie says Tristan's got a backup. I've got the USB and audio. Might be my only shot." I played them. Henry's crash footage. Tristan's lawn brag about bleeding me dry. Chris's jaw dropped. "This is insane, but if they're desperate, they'll hit hard." That night I crashed at Chris's, the futon creaking under me, when my phone buzzed at midnight. An unknown number. I answered, voice thick with sleep. "Yeah?" A woman, sharp and clipped. Jake Miller? Officer Rivera, local PD. Got a tip about your brother's crash. Meet me tomorrow, 8 a.m. station. Bring evidence. My heart leapt. Mac must have flagged it. I've got video, I said, sitting up, adrenaline kicking in. Good, she replied. See you then. I hung up, my mind spinning. The cops were in. This was escalating fast. Wednesday morning, I drove to the station, the USB and phone in my pocket, my hands slick on the wheel. Officer Rivera waited, a short, tough woman with a buzz cut and eyes like steel. She led me to a cramped room, recorder ready. Spill it, she said, arms crossed. I laid out everything. The crash, Dad's $5,000 to Henry, the $14,500 demand, the smashed Tesla, Tristan's frame job. I played the footage and audio, watching her face harden as Tristan's voice echoed, "We'll bleed him dry." She stopped the recorder. "This is tight. We're pulling him in today. You pressing charges?" My chest tightened. I need to think." She nodded. "Decide soon. We'll call you back." I left, my head buzzing, and headed to work, barely functioning. At noon, Cassie called, her voice frantic. "Jake, Brad's crew just peeled out of the nail. They're pissed. Tristan said you snitched. They're coming for you." My gut dropped. "Where?" She hissed. "Your office. Mustang. Black rims." I grabbed my keys, my heart pounding, and bolted to the parking lot. As I hit the main road, Brad's Mustang roared up behind me, its growl shaking my bones. I floored my Civic, weaving through cars, my breath ragged. Brad leaned out, yelling, "Pull over, you rat!" I swerved into a side street, tires screeching, when Lena, my old high school buddy, now a tow truck driver, appeared at a gas station. I honked wildly, skidding beside her rig. She jumped out, tall and grease-streaked. "Jake? What the—" Brad's Mustang rounded the corner, and I shouted, "They're after me! Help!" Lena swung her truck across the road, blocking them, Brad's horn blaring as he braked hard. I peeled out, muttering, "Lena, you're a saint," my hands shaking. I hit at Chris's, my nerves frayed, when Mac texted, "Starbucks, 4 p.m. I met him, still jittery. He slid his tablet over. Henry's second camera caught Tristan smashing the Tesla at 2:13 a.m. "Dumbest frame job I've seen," Mac said, smirking. "Claims denied. Cops are on it. Rivera's coming." She arrived, replayed the footage, and asked, "Charges?" I thought of Brad's chase. "Yes," I said, my voice firm. "Do it." Thursday morning, I was back home, packing a bag in my room, when I heard the Mustangs rumble outside. I peeked out. Brad, Tristan, and 2 others pacing the driveway, beer cans in hand. My stomach sank. They weren't waiting for the cops. I grabbed my bag, slipping toward the back door when the front crashed open. Brad's voice boomed, "Where's the snitch?" I froze, my breath catching, then bolted out the back, sprinting across the yard. Tires squealed. Brad's Mustang tore around the house, cutting me off. I ducked behind a shed, my heart hammering as Tristan yelled, "You're dead, Jake!" A beer can sailed past my head, shattering on the fence. Then headlights. Lena's tow truck barreled in, horn blaring. She leapt out, bat in hand. "Back off, punks!" Brad laughed. "Stay out of it, bitch." But Lena swung, cracking his windshield. He cursed, jumping back, and I seized the moment, sprinting to my Civic. Chris pulled up in his Jeep. "Get in." I dove in, Brad's crew scattering as Lena held them off. We peeled out, my chest heaving. "They're insane." Chris grinned. "Yeah, but we've got this." At Chris's, Cassie showed up, breathless. "Tristan's losing it. Cops are at your place now." I called Rivera. "Brad just jumped me." She growled, "We've got him. Tristan's in cuffs. Station, now." I went, gave my statement, and pressed charges. Tristan got 6 months, Brad a night in lockup. Mom and Dad went broke, begging later. I shut them out, free with Chris, Cassie, Lena, Henry, my real family. Brad's still out there, though, and I'm watching my back. Looking back on everything, I can still feel the weight of those nights, the sleepless hours, the roar of Brad's Mustang, the sting of Mom's tears and Dad's threats. It's been a hell of a ride, one I never asked for, but it taught me something I'll carry forever. Family isn't just blood. It's the people who stand by you when the world turns ugly. Tristan was my brother, sure, but he chose to frame me, to let me drown in his mess, and my parents. They picked him every time, even when it meant breaking me. I spent years bending over backwards, paying rent in my own home, chasing approval I'd never get, only to realize it was a trap. The real lesson hit me hard. You can't save people who don't want saving, and you sure as hell don't owe them your life. Walking away from that house, from their guilt trips and lies, wasn't easy. It felt like ripping out a piece of myself, but it was the only way to breathe again. Chris, Cassie, Lena, Henry, they showed me what loyalty looks like, no strings attached. And Brad? He's still out there, a loose end I can't shake, but I'm not running anymore. I've got my own place now, a job that's finally paying off, and a future I'm building on my terms. Tristan's in jail, Mom and Dad are scrambling, and I'm done being their scapegoat. Life's too short to carry someone else's wreckage. So, what do you think? Ever had to cut ties to save yourself or faced a Brad who wouldn't quit? Drop your stories below. I'd love to hear how you fought your way out. And if you've got ideas on what Brad might pull next, let me know. This mess isn't over yet, and I could use some backup. Hit that like button if you're with me and stick around. There's more to tell.